a senior White House trade advisor, has reportedly suggested revising the U.S.-Canada border, a move that has sparked concerns about potential geopolitical ramifications. According to a report by The Telegraph, PeterNavarro, President Donald Trump's senior counselor for trade and manufacturing, has been advocating for modifications to the long-standing border arrangement between the two nations. This revelation has raised alarms among policymakers, economists, and diplomatic experts who see such a proposition as both radical and hazardous. Navarro's influence and controversial stance. Sources close to the situation have indicated that Navarro has been increasingly asserting his influence over U.S. trade policy, particularly in the absence of other key officials. Navarro recommended revising the Canada-U.S. border, which is just crazy and dangerous. A source familiar with the negotiations told The Telegraph. The advisor's proximity to Trump has reportedly given him significant leverage, allowing him to push forward policies that might otherwise be met with greater resistance. Navarro, known for his hardline stance on trade and economic policies, has previously been a central figure in Trump's first administration. His aggressive approach toward trade relations with China and other countries has made him a polarizing figure within the administration and beyond. The latest report suggests that he is now extending his influence to U.S.-Canada relations, an area that has historically been marked by stability and cooperation. Canada's position on border redrawing. Despite Navarro's push for border modifications, Canada has remained firm in its stance against any such discussions. Canadian officials have signaled that they are unwilling to engage in negotiations related to border adjustments, particularly at a time when trade tensions between the two nations remain a contentious issue. The Canadians have told their people to hold off negotiating with the U.S. government until Jamieson Greer and Howard Lutnick are confirmed by the Senate and in post, the source told The Telegraph. This indicates that Canada is waiting for a more stable and predictable U.S. trade leadership before entering into discussions regarding any policy shifts. Who are Jamieson Greer and Howard Lutnick? Jamieson Greer, a veteran trade official, has been a key player in Trump's trade agenda since his first term. His role in negotiating the United States-Mexico-Canada Agreement, USMCA, has given him significant experience in North American trade relations. Howard Lutnick, recently confirmed as Commerce Secretary on February 18, is expected to bring a more structured approach to U.S. economic policy. Until both officials are firmly in their roles, Canada appears to be taking a wait-and-see approach to negotiations. Navarro's legal troubles and continued influence. Despite his controversial policy proposals, Navarro remains an influential figure within Trump's administration. His recent return to government comes after he served 4 months in prison in 2024 for defying a congressional subpoena related to the January 6th Capitol riot. His unwavering loyalty to Trump, however, has ensured his continued presence in the administration, even as critics argue that his extreme positions could be detrimental to international relations. PeterNavarro is in post, and he is taking advantage of being there by himself, with no one else in post, to challenge his extreme positions. This will change as soon as the many other trade and economic positions are filled. A source said, by default of no competition, he is temporarily ruling the roost. Navarro's influence over U.S. trade policy is significant, and his recent push to redraw the U.S.-Canada border adds another layer of complexity to an already turbulent international trade environment. His previous policies have led to trade wars, tariffs, and strained relations with multiple allies. The potential ramifications of his latest proposal could have wide-reaching effects, not only for Canada, but also for businesses and industries that rely on stable cross-border trade. Trump's past remarks on Canada. The latest controversy comes on the heels of multiple statements from Trump regarding Canada's status in relation to the U.S. Over the years, Trump has made comments suggesting that he views Canada as an extension of the United States rather than as an independent nation. On several occasions, he has even joked, or perhaps not joked, that he wants to make Canada the United States' 51st state. During campaign rallies and interviews, Trump has referred to outgoing Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau as the Aide Governor of Canada, a statement that many see as emblematic of his dismissive attitude toward Canadian sovereignty. These remarks, while often brushed off as bluster, contribute to concerns about the seriousness of any potential policy shifts regarding the economic implications. The idea of redrawing the U.S.-Canada border raises numerous diplomatic and economic concerns. Canada and the United States share one of the longest, most peaceful borders in the world. Any move to alter it would disrupt trade, travel, and bilateral relations that have been built over centuries. The economic ties between the two nations are deeply intertwined, with Canada being one of the United States' largest trading partners. Any uncertainty regarding border stability could have significant consequences for industries such as automotive manufacturing, agriculture, and energy. Additionally, border communities that rely on seamless movement between the two countries could face economic hardship if changes are implemented. Reactions from lawmakers and experts. Navarro's reported proposal has been met with skepticism and concern from lawmakers on both sides of the border. U.S. senators and representatives have largely dismissed the idea as unrealistic and potentially damaging to U.S.-Canada relations. "This is not how we treat our closest ally and neighbor," said a U.S. senator who spoke on condition of anonymity. "The idea of unilaterally redrawing the border is absurd and would only serve to create unnecessary tension." Canadian officials have also voiced their opposition to any discussions on border changes. A high-ranking Canadian diplomat told reporters, "Canada has no interest in revisiting the border. It has served both nations well for generations, and any attempts to alter it would be met with strong resistance." Trade and foreign policy experts have echoed these concerns, emphasizing that stability in U.S.-Canada relations is essential for North American economic prosperity. "The last thing we need is a manufactured crisis over a border that has functioned effectively for centuries," said an international relations professor. "Any attempt to change it would be legally complex, economically damaging, and diplomatically reckless." White House response and future outlook. As of now, the White House has not issued an official response to the reports regarding Navarro's proposal. The lack of a formal statement leaves room for speculation about whether this idea is gaining traction within the administration, or if it is simply another instance of Navarro pushing his own agenda without widespread support. Moving forward, the confirmation of key trade officials such as Jamieson Greer and Howard Lutnick may shift the balance of power within the administration and provide a counterbalance to Navarro's influence. Additionally, Canada's firm stance against engaging in border discussions suggests that any attempts to pursue this issue will face significant resistance. While Trump has a history of making bold and often controversial statements regarding Canada, actual policy changes of this magnitude would require extensive negotiations and legal hurdles. For now, the U.S.-Canada border remains unchanged, but Navarro's reported push for revisions has certainly added a new layer of complexity to an already strained bilateral relationship. Conclusion: the revelation that PeterNavarro has reportedly suggested redrawing the U.S.-Canada border has ignited a firestorm of debate and concern, with Canada refusing to entertain such discussions and key U.S. trade officials yet to take their positions. The proposal appears unlikely to gain immediate traction. However, Navarro's continued influence and Trump's unpredictable approach to foreign policy mean that this issue cannot be entirely dismissed. As the situation develops, the world will be watching closely to see whether this remains a fleeting controversy or if it escalates into a larger geopolitical issue.